Let us now discuss structure of atom. First of all, we are dealing with Thomson model of atom. So first successful attempt for the structure of atom, that was by Thomson. Thomson, what he did, Thomson considered the atom to be a sphere of positive electricity, means electron protons, they were arranged on the outer side of a circle, and in these positive electricity protons the electrons were embedded. So this structure was similar to watermelon, where the black seeds they represent the electron, and red spongy part of the watermelon is considered to be the protons. So this was Thomson model. He considered atom to be a sphere of positive electricity in which electrons they were embedded. Now, what was the drawback of this structure? This structure could not explain the stability of atom, since in this structure the positive electricity or the proton they are very near to each other, and we know the similar charges they repel each other. Similarly, electrons they were very near to each other, again there was a repulsion. So it was asked to Thomson how the stability of atom will be explained by this structure. Thomson could not explain the stability of atom, therefore his structure was discarded. And then we come to another structure by Rutherford. So what was Rutherford scattering experiment? Rutherford bombarded a thin gold foil that was about 4 into 10 raised to power minus 4 centimeter thick gold foil with alpha particles, and observed three important observations. Number one, about 99% of the particles they pass straightway through the gold foil. It showed that there are large empty spaces in the atom or in the gold foil, and few particles they suffered some deflection, while one particle out of 20,000 particles, only one particle was such which suffered the actual small deflection from the positively charged nucleus. This is gold foil. 99% of the alpha particle they passed straightway through the gold foil, and some particle they got some deflections. And one out of 20,000 particles got deflected at the incident path. So what he concluded from this experiment, he concluded that there is large empty space in the atom, due to which 99% alpha particle they pass straightway, and there was a dense positively charged center situated in the center of atom. This was named as nucleus, and this empty part it is called as extranuclear part. So what was the conclusion from Rutherford experiment? First conclusion was there are large empty space in the atom which is called as extranuclear part. There is dense positively charged center in the nucleus in the atom, that is called as nucleus. So Rutherford gave his model of atom. First is nucleus. It is dense positively charged center situated in the center of atom which contains nucleus. They are neutrons and protons around the nucleus there was a large empty space in which electrons they were revolving. This part was named as extra nuclear part. So this is the empty space around the nucleus where electrons they revolve in different levels or different cells. So this was Rutherford model, according to which atom consists of two parts. Number one is nucleus, second is the extra nuclear part. But this Rutherford model also suffered a drawback. Max Planck's quantum theory was evident during that research. According to this theory, any charged particle and any oppositely charged particle, when moving around the nucleus, there is a force of attraction between positively charged nucleus and negatively charged electron. Therefore, due to this force of attraction, that electron will go on losing energy, and by losing energy more and more, its orbit will become shorter and shorter, and ultimately electron will fall in the nucleus and atom will collapse. So Rutherford could not explain this drawback. Therefore, Rutherford model was also discarded later on. So up to now we have studied two models, and both of them they suffered some drawback. Thomson model suffered the drawback of stability. Similarly, Rutherford model also suffered the drawback of stability. Then comes the term of your Neil Bohr. So now we discuss Neil Bohr model. Of atom. In 1913, Neil Bohr Neil Bohr gave his model which was named as Bohr model of atom. Now, what were the postulates of Neil Bohr? Postulates are the proved points. So, first postulate was every atom has a dense positively charged center called as nucleus, having protons and neutrons which are called as nucleus. There are large number of circular paths around the nucleus which are named as orbits or energy levels or principal cells. Then they are represented by K, L, M, N, O, P or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starting from nucleus. Then third, the angular momentum of electron is whole number multiple h upon 2 pi. So MVR that is equal to NH upon 2 pi, where M is the mass of electron, V is the velocity of electron with which it is moving in a circular path of radius r, N is the number of orbit, first, second, third, H is Planck's constant, pi is another constant. So this angular momentum that remains constant until the electron is moving in the allotted energy level. When electron changes its level, the angular momentum that will also change. Fourth point is an electron keeps on revolving in the allotted energy level without losing energy, and this state of electron is called as ground state. When some energy is given to electron, it absorbs that energy and moves to the higher level. This state of the electron is called as excited state. This is a temporary state. After some time, electron has to come back by releasing the absorbed energy. So we have two states, ground state and excited state. Now let us calculate the energy in these two states. Let E1 is the energy in the first state of the electron and E2 is the energy in the second state. When it absorbs some energy photon, it will be definitely moving to higher level, and after some time it will fall back. The amount of energy released by the electron or absorbed by the electron, it is directly proportional to the frequency of incident light, or E2 minus E1, that is equal to h nu. Since nu is equal to c by lambda, therefore E2 minus E1, that is become equal to Sc upon lambda, or lambda can be calculated. Lambda will be equal to Sc upon E2 minus E1. This is the wavelength of the incident light. Then an orbit can keep electron by a rule 2n square rule, where n is the number of orbit. So electrons, first cell can keep your 2 electrons, second can keep 8 electrons, and so on. They can keep. Now there were it explained the evidences which explained evidences in favor of Bohr model. First is it explains stability of atom. Since electron and nucleus, they are fixed, they cannot change their positions by themselves until and unless they are not disturbed from outside. It means atom cannot collapse, atom is stable. Secondly, he gave the formula to calculate energy of the electron in an atom. It is equal to 2 pi square mz square e raised to power 4 n square h square. This was the formula. When it was calculated, it came out to be 1312 upon your n square into z square. This was the energy of the electron in any cell. n की value put करनी है यहाँ 1 2 3 4 6. It successfully explained line spectrum of hydrogen. So when hydrogen light was studied, it gave number of lines. They were well explained by the Bohr model. So these evidences, they supported Bohr model. Then we'll study the drawbacks of this model. It could not explain splitting of spectral lines in magnetic field, splitting of spectral lines in electric field. It could not explain the line spectrum of multi-electron atom, where large number of bundles of lines they were seen. In this case, only 5 bundles of lines were seen in case of hydrogen, and it does not obey de Broglie equation. It does not obey Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So all these were the drawback of the Bohr model. To correct them, a new model of atom, that is called as modern atomic structure, that is based upon a set of 4 quantum numbers that was introduced. That is called as modern atomic structure, or we say them as a quantum number. So we will be discussing quantum numbers in our next lecture. Thank you.